Hello, hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Just doing a quick post. Hello, hello. Just trying to get people spread the news of this live here. All right, well, welcome back. It's been a good couple weeks, I think, since I did my last one. Out of curiosity, can you see my right hand? My right hand. I'm just wondering if you guys can see this. Like, even if I'm over here, just want to make sure you guys can see both of my hands. Okay, cool. Just want to be comfortable for you guys. Good question. Does it become easy to compose a song on a different guitar tune? It becomes easy if you do it over and over again. That's one of those things that I think it's just like a muscle that you need to train. And if you don't train that muscle enough, it becomes atrophy, right? So it just kind of dies out. So it's one of those things that if you do want to practice writing songs in different tunings, just keep doing it, keep exploring. One piece of advice that I could give you even is, as you're kind of figuring out what tuning to go to, obviously you can just take tunings from other people, but if you want to be more creative and you actually have the time and energy to invest in like exploring the guitar, I'd really highly recommend that. But I know time isn't on our side for many of us. So if you do have the luxury of that time, I'd really encourage you to just go one string at a time down and then play. If that doesn't work for you, change another string. And this is typically how I would write music. With a lot of my songs that are in different tunings, that's typically how I would do it. Yeah, some alternate tunings, some of them that I really like, that are still relatively similar to standard tuning is double drop D. So low E string and the high E string down to a drop D. I've got so many songs in that tuning. It's just so inspiring because like there's just so many ideas that you can come up with. Another tuning is the tuning for my piece like Zaire or Facades or Running Fox Trail. That's like in an E flat, G, D, G, B flat, E flat tuning with partial capos kind of moved around on the fretboard. So it just comes down to how creative you can be. I mean, I even have one tuning if you want to even play in standard tuning. I just use the capo on strings 1 to 5, leaving the 6th string untouched. So this is great because I got a song, you know, El Cielo en Ziwa. That's the song that's in this kind of voicing, I guess. It's like having a drop D. Really, it's a similar thing like that. It's slightly different because we are still in the realm of all the chords that we would do are still, indeed, you know, still standard tuning. So that's still pretty cool. I think maybe you guys asked about the string gauge. Is that it? Yeah, string action at the 12th fret. I don't know the exact measurement of the string action that I have. All I know is that it's really low. It's low and it feels very good, very easy to play this guitar. This is probably my easiest guitar to play. It's the Cole Clark. You can see there. It's definitely not the best sounding guitar I have, definitely not at all. But it's just the most easiest to play, and it's just I want to be comfortable, of course. But this is great to do these sort of Persian-inspired kind of, to do it still in standard tuning, right? I've been kind of exploring a little bit darker sounds, you know, those sort of ambiguous kind of cinematic specific things that are really fun to do. I guess this would be like a Lydian, but when you mix it, it's pretty cool. You want to know the exact chords I use for Dire Docks? I don't know the exact chords. A mostly, A and G. But I do have the tabs for that piece on my website, manelijamal.com, if you are interested in, you know, learning it note for note. I have lots of videos with electric guitar. Yeah, I got a whole album released, which is called Ambient Sketchbook, and that is all electric guitar, but it's not the electric guitar shred. I don't know if you're referring to that. You know, if it's something like just calm music, because that's kind of the direction I'm going in mostly, just more relaxing kind of melodic stuff. Yeah, I've got a full album called Ambient Sketchbook. It's all over all social media platforms, you know. But yeah, I mean, if I were to play Indian, that's... I know that they do quite a bit of, like, on the guitar anyway. I met a guy when I was in India. I was in Chennai not too long ago, and I got to spend some time near Chennai, which was in Oroville, beautiful place in India. And I met a guy there who's like specializes in you know, Indian music on the guitar, and he showed me a few little things that he would do, which was very interesting. Like when he hits this note, he would follow it by the bend of that previous note, and then go into it like that. And then he would do this like left, right, quick left and right kind of slide up and down. Right? So that's how we would get these sort of really intricate sounds. It's not something that I've practiced very much. Really interesting kind of stuff. But yeah, if you want to explore Indian guitar, I'm definitely not the guy to ask too much about that. I just know, like, you know, those basic things to kind of fake it, I guess. I like to fake a lot of things on the guitar. I'm not really like a specialist in a lot of things on the guitar, but it's not about that for me. It's about just trying to get little hints and pieces, little parts of different cultures that I've been to, that I've seen, like different countries, and take out little hints of their music or of their musical culture and bring it into what I do. So I'm not like a real Persian guitar player. You know, I can, again, fake it like that scale charga, which someone just asked. Right, which is kind of like a, what is it? It's like a harmonic minor, but with a little chromatic run there. Yeah, it's really cool stuff that I just love to mix everything all together and see what happens. That's kind of my thing. Let's just fuse and, you know, put everything into a blender and see what happens. I got no plans for the Netherlands just yet, but who knows, something might happen. I will be coming back to Europe, to Germany, I think mostly, in April, and maybe in Costa Rica in March, and a few other things. But I'm not really pushing the touring lifestyle anymore. I've done so much of it that I'm just taking a little bit of a break, you know, focusing on some other things. Yeah, so that's That's a great question. Am I a full-time musician, or do you do something else part-time? This is actually a pretty in-depth topic because I don't just do music. I used to do music full-time, thinking that this was the only thing that I had to do to make an income as a musician. But after touring a lot and saving a lot of my money, investing my money and reinvesting it, buying some property and things like that, I'm starting to get more, branch out from just playing music. I feel in life that you've got a calling, oftentimes, that you've got to run with, and after that calling, kind of once you've not depleted all the resources, but once you've kind of gotten to a certain point, I feel that it's very natural for us to move on and actually take that knowledge that we learned from whatever craft that was and apply it to a new part of life. So it's very much so a philosophy that I follow. There's certain books that I read that really changed my philosophy of this whole thing. One great book that I could recommend for anyone starting to maybe be their own manager, their own business person, is a book called The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. This is the book that changed my life. I read it, and then I had to make changes in my life immediately. And so I'm not touring as much because of that book, actually, and just focusing on different ways of touching people's lives, not just through music, but through my story as well. So I don't know if that answers it, but yeah, I don't just do music. I got a couple other businesses as well that I'm kind of working with. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be alive. Yeah, who inspired me to play percussive guitar? Well, the reason I use this thumb pick right here is because of another Canadian guitar player called Don Ross. Don Ross, I saw a YouTube video of him when I was still very amateur back in the day in my parents' basement, and I saw a video of him playing something, and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. I need to implement this into my style. And so I did. So after watching him, he was really the first person that I was like, wow, who is this guy who happens to also live in the country? At that point, I had just moved to Canada from America. So that was an exciting time because I was starting to explore all this. And to be honest, it wasn't an easy life back then. I was working during the day till night and come home at 1 in the morning and then start playing guitar for 5 hours. So undisturbed, no one would disturb me for those 5 or 6 hours. So one thing that I really learned there is that discipline to just stick with something long term. I did that for a long time, maybe a few years, just playing from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. every day because of my job that I had, which was working at a copy center. But I didn't really like that aspect. Work for me started when I came home to the guitar. That's when work really started. So I would put that 110% into the craft. And those were really my fundamental years with the guitar when I started to just get into flamenco, that kind of stuff, and really classical playing. Then I started getting into, of course, the percussive stuff. All that stuff, and then just fusing everything together over time. It all just kind of unfolded, which was really cool, I think. And it's one of those things, if anyone here is watching and like struggling to get through to the next stage, just be persistent. Be persistent. Keep pushing it. People will hear you if you are dedicated to your craft. People want to be around people who are really passionate about what they do and are good at what they do, right? Yeah, I won't be in Berlin. I'll probably be closer to the western side of Germany for that. Yeah. Do I know okay, so that's a good question, which is, do I know my theory? Do I know my theory on the guitar? And is it important? Is it even important for anyone to need to learn it? It's mixed, very mixed. It comes down to this, in my opinion. If you have the capacity and understanding and really passion to learn why things work the way they do, musically speaking, sonically speaking, then go for it. Learn it, because it will make you a better player. It will make you a more aware player. The awareness that comes with theory is just going to blow your mind if you have that patience to sit down and really go through it with your instrument. Theory on the guitar is not the easiest to learn, just because it requires 2 actions with the hands, to get one sound. Like, we got to put a finger there and we got to pluck. So it's not as intuitive as the piano, for example. You've got a bird's eye view, a perspective over top that you can easily access. So I recommend, if you are going to go into theory, I did it the hard way, and I actually went through theory, well, partly because I played violin for 5 years, so I knew a little bit of theory from my dad. My dad's a musician as well, so that kind of helped. And then, of course, when I went to the guitar, someone wanted to learn guitar for me. This was when I was maybe 2 years playing the guitar, and someone wanted to learn guitar for me, and I was like really anxious. I didn't really want or really understand how to teach. I was a complete beginner. I didn't understand any of that. So what I did is, for the 2 weeks before that first appointment, I went through, it's got to be 5 different theory books. I just like speed read everything as much as I could to try to get an understanding of how am I going to teach all this stuff? Like, if someone wants to learn from me, I better know my stuff, right? It turns out that first lesson, we were just talking about tuning the guitar, and it was so rudimentary that I over-prepared. But then it made me realize and appreciate that that knowledge that I now know that I possessed because of being thrown in that situation has enabled me to kind of just be comfortable with theory now. So if you do throw a chord progression at me, I'm pretty confident that I can figure something out within a few seconds. Now, that's a whole different skill though, improvising versus just, composing. But the more that you know about anything in life, think about that. The more you know about anything in life, whether it's understanding of your business, whether it's understanding of your craft, whatever that may be, the better you can communicate, right? The better and more aware you are of everything that's going on. This is the philosophy that I follow. So if I'm going to learn something, if I'm going to put my whole 100% into something, I am going to go 110% in, because I need to learn it to better myself, right? So hopefully that helps. I know that was a bit of a ramble, but it's good questions that really kind of can promote good, maybe longer answers and things like that. Play some flamenco. Love the smile. Yeah, you want to hear some flamenco. I don't really... I mean, that song, El Cielo en Ziwa, is kind of a song that's very flamenco-esque. Maybe I can play that a little bit later. Yeah, Waves of Orta is going to be released next year. It's still, I've recorded it. I don't want to give too much of the song away yet as far as playing it, because it's still kind of in the production phase. I have played it live a few times, which is a lot of fun. But yeah, it's not. I might play. Who knows? I haven't played that song in a while, so there's gonna be a lot of mistakes, and I don't know if I want to make a lot of mistakes right now on live YouTube. Okay, the rules of composition on harmony division scales. Okay, yeah, that's a pretty deep question. I'm gonna see what else we got. Which one of your songs means the most to you? The one that I am the most proud of. Another good question, Doug. Appreciate that. Doug is actually one of my students. Longtime students, and great question. I think one of the songs that I'm the most proud of that I've ever written, that I have ever kind of come up with, is a song called Awakening. Awakening, that's the kind of the title track of the first big track off of my CD called The Lamage Movement. The reason being is because there's a lot of story behind that song. It's about my dad, how he was fighting for freedom and justice with a whole group of other people in my home country in Iran. That's a very political statement, but it's also an awakening to yourself, awakening that you need to do what you need to do in life for you to leave your impact, for you to change people's lives. That's kind of the awakening, and I relate it back to myself. For me, the awakening that I had was music, guitar. This was the awakening for me. This was the start of realizing your purpose in life, or your desire that you want to pursue. Any books that I recommend on fingerstyle? I don't know, actually. I don't think I've gone through any books. I'm a self-taught guitarist mostly, so I'm not sure I could recommend any because I haven't really gone through very many. But I will say I am working on a masterclass right now, a very in-depth. It's going to be 100 exercises, everything to do with how I play, take you from the beginning stages all the way to the very advanced stages. That's coming out next year. Springtime sometime, so I think that'll be really cool. Yeah, okay, so good questions here. What does it take to get a sponsorship with Cole Clark? I'm not sure. They approached me, so I didn't really have to pursue that. I'm not really sure, but yeah, as far as this is a Cole Clark guitar. This is my signature model guitar. You can even see the GoPro in there. I don't know if you guys even want to know how I did that. But yeah, so maybe I can just kind of show you that. It's basically I put a magnet behind the GoPro and a very strong magnet right here. And this basically, you know how I don't have to explain how magnets work. So yeah, but then it connects it, and so I'm able to leave it there. And you might be wondering how I can see what this is seeing is because on my phone, it connects to the phone on the app, so I can see kind of, what it looks like and things like that. Sounds like waiting music. It just sounds like music that you'd hear in an elevator while you're waiting for something. But this is typically how I would start writing a song. I would just do something completely that I maybe haven't done in a while, or just that kind of has a groove. Maybe add one note. And if I don't like the rhythm, because maybe I've used this rhythm too much or it's too funky, there's a lot of different. Southern Magnolia is a love song, actually. I was engaged to a Texan girl many years ago, and that was a song written for her, actually. It was actually the very first song that I wrote on the acoustic guitar, as a solo kind of piece. It's this piece right here. That was Southern Magnolia. Yeah, the last part of that piece is a little tricky because it's like that triplet run that I do in the song Southern Magnolia. But it just takes time to develop that kind of pattern, that thumb index middle. So I'm just using this kind of claw over and over again. And then eventually you can kind of play like a scale. Very kind of good technique that I like to do before, like, you know, playing a show and stuff like that, just to kind of get warmed up, to kind of get ready. Spirit Lingers. What happened to Spirit Lingers? Yeah, that's okay. So a lot of my songs, not a lot, but there's quite a bit of them that I write and then I will never play again. Just I don't really connect at that moment. Like I might connect during the composition part, the compositional phase of a song, while I'm still writing it, but I won't really feel connected after. And Spirit Lingers is one of those. Oh, excuse me. Looks like I'm catching a cold. Yeah, I can't play a Boy's Echo. Again, that's one of those songs. I wrote it as a commission for someone, but I've never played it really before. You know, after that, because it's one of those songs that it was a fun compositional aspect, but I couldn't unfortunately play it now because unless I had the tabs in front of me, I'd probably gonna have to learn. Is that in Russian? I don't speak Russian. I was born in Belarus, but I don't speak Russian. So I don't know if that's what that is. Yeah, so this is actually a steel string guitar here. This is a steel string guitar. Does it sound like a nylon guitar? I mean, I guess I could see that, but... Yeah. Yes, maybe Italy as well. One of my favorite places to go to, for sure. Yes, nice mug. This is a mug. I don't know if this is flipped for you guys because I'm on my front-facing camera, but this is a merch that I have now. It's actually a mug that says "Music is my therapist." You can find that on my website or probably under the YouTube channel. It's probably there too. Also comes in a shirt. I should be wearing it right now really to promote it, but no. How did I come up with the song Kora? That's a tough song. That is a really tough song to play. I think I started writing bits and parts of that while I was in Australia, because you know, Kora means what does that mean? Kora is companion in Aboriginal Australian, and I use the Cole Clark guitar, which is from Australia. So there you go. I don't really remember all the details because there's some songs that I just don't resonate with so much that it's more just like a exercise. And Kora is really fun to play, don't get me wrong, but it's one of those songs that's just like really, really hard, and I have to really do a lot of work to upkeep that song. So as much as I love to play it, I try to play that when no one's watching or listening. That's typically... Shy, welcome. Yeah, it is the song. I think it is the notes between stuff that I do that can make it sound exotic, you know, and things like that. But Kora is just it's in the same tuning as my other piece called Javoon. It's in like an open D tuning or a D sharp tuning, if I'm not mistaken. You know, so it's one of those. But yeah. But as far as like the Cole Clark that I use here is it's got a three-way pickup system. That's why I use it. I use it because, you know, for live. It's not my recording guitar. I definitely don't record with this guitar. It's for live purposes only for me, you know. Absolutely, good question here. It says, do you feel that some songs are more suited for a specific guitar of yours, the Taylor or both the Cole Clark? I definitely prefer the Taylor guitar. The Taylor guitar has such a good sound. Plus, there's such an emotional connection to that guitar because I've that's the first guitar I bought with my own money, and it was a very expensive guitar. So I saved up for like 2 years, I think, working at a bakery, saving up for that monster guitar that I have. It's an 814 limited edition, so it's like Madagascar rosewood, really nice stuff. So it's definitely my go-to guitar. But this is like my practice guitar. If I'm just kind of moseying around and mopping, you know, and just kind of noodling around, that's typically what I go for. Yeah, so I'm just in standard tuning right now, nothing fancy. I use quite a bit of the stuff to record, you know. I not only use the pickup system that's here, so I plug that in, but I also use usually 2 microphones stereo like this, and then maybe a center one right there. So it's a really nice guitar, kind of my go-to thing. Feel free to dance, yes. That was the Zim Blues. Try to respond a little bit to you guys here. Yeah, Uxbridge, Chris, good to see you. I missed Uxbridge too. Good times. Those were some of my first shows way back when. Yeah, glad you guys are dancing. Abigail's dancing. That's great. That's good news. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, where are you guys all from? Which countries are you in? I want to see which countries you guys are in, just so I can see kind of where, like, how many people from around the world are here right now, today, to gather and celebrate. Wow, beautiful. So I think we've got all of Europe here, at the looks of it. Wine, yes. It's late in France. Why aren't you sleeping, Shy? Yeah, Poland's great. I was just recently in Poland, actually. Beautiful. Ah, Altea. Connie. Great to see you guys here. Amazing. Belarus. That's awesome. One guy from Canada. Two. All right, name that song. What song was that? Do I even know that song? That's the question. Great, the whole family, shy. Great, wonderful to see you all. Favorite alternate tuning, double drop D. I got loads of exercises regarding finger picking and to help make it more independent of each other, but those will come soon. Those will come in my masterclass, which will be out in a few months. Or I do Skype lessons as well. If you guys want to do one-on-one Skype lessons, I do quite a bit of those lately, so you can always do that. Minnesota, cool. I used to live in Minnesota. Been there for a couple years. You must have insanely thick thumbs. Yes. I don't know actually. My hands are not, they're not large. Isn't there that thing that if you go like this, you know, you see how big your hand is compared to your head, and then someone slaps you? That's great. Yeah, but my hands are normal, average. They're not that long. I mean, you know, there's some players who have really tiny hands and can still do amazing things. It's not a limitation of the length of your fingers. It's a limitation of perhaps something up here. If you're wondering about that anyway. All right, so no one knew that song that I just played. Interesting. No, it was not Home. It's actually called Miles Away. Miles Away. Really a song that I play too much, but I will be in Germany in April for a few shows, late April. Taking a bit of a break from the touring lifestyle, focusing on my masterclass right now. To be honest, this is kind of nice because I've been editing videos probably for the last 2 weeks or so, just every day nonstop, a few hours. So it's kind of nice to play the guitar. So I'm just focusing so much on that class, that course, because I'm doing everything myself. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's more like it's an internal kind of obsession that I have with finishing this by myself to see if I can do it. It's more like a challenge. You know, I think sometimes we do that in life. We need a challenge to grow, right? And that's typically the best way to grow. How did I become a guitar teacher? I became a guitar teacher because just someone happened to ask me if I wanted to teach someone play guitar. This was when I was still playing in my, you know, metal days and things like that. So it just kind of snowballed from there. I did so much reading in some like theory books to kind of just learn as much as I could. I was telling that story a little bit earlier, but I won't say it again. But yeah, it was just something that I was thrown in and kind of liked it. And then more and more people wanted to learn from me for this specific style of the guitar, which is just more fulfilling for me too, because they want to find their own voice, and I'm happy to provide any sort of guidance on that as well. So yeah, I mean that's kind of where that's at with teaching. But and then performing came. To be honest, I hated performing for a very long time. It wasn't something that came natural to me like it does for some other gifted people. But my first performance was an open mic after 2 years of playing the guitar. When I moved to Canada, one of my friends wanted to be my manager, and he kind of just threw me on stage and said, play 2 songs. And so I did. I had a hat on so no one could see my eyes or my face. You know, I was really shy. I didn't want anyone to take notice of me, even though I was on stage performing, which is kind of funny how that works. And then from there, it just, after those 2 songs that I played, which were like Lucid Drawl, I don't know if you guys know that song, it's one of the first songs that I wrote, something like that. I don't even know how to play it, but it's a very flashy, kind of 2-hand tap type of a song. And then from there, it's kind of snowballed. I was like, I love this feeling. This is such a abstract feeling to be on stage. This is something that this was a fear of mine for a long time, and even one of my fears was public speaking. And obviously now I'm doing it here. I guess I don't know if this is public speaking or not, but I'm fine now. But it's one of those things that you know, you grow. So one important thing there, a takeaway, is maybe to face your fears, face those things that are uncomfortable, because those are the things that are going to make you grow. It's that simple. Those are the things that are going to make you grow. If you want to be a most integrated person in life, do those things that you hate to do, and maybe at least try it, because like what happened to me, it kind of snowballed, and that was the catalyst for me becoming a musician and sharing music with you right now. All right, so if it wasn't for me going through my fears like that, I wouldn't be playing like this, right? I wouldn't have you guys to maybe even be there. So that's an interesting thing when you look back in retrospect with the things that you've done. You know, bit of philosophy there. I will not be at the Music Messa. Maybe, I don't know. No plans on Music Messa just yet. I have not decided if I'm going to play Awakening in Morrisburg. I don't know about that. I'll have to see. I've just been focusing so much on the course, the masterclass editing. I never actually played cello, so I used to play violin. And that was the first instrument that I learned, thanks to my dad. That was a new song. Will be released next year as well. Don't have a title for this just yet, but it's a fun song that I've just been kind of experimenting with. The masterclass will cover, the masterclass that I'm going to be releasing soon is going to be covering everything, quite literally almost every single thing that I've ever learned on the guitar. Everything from the basics of the foundation of technique, which is two-hand tap, slap harmonic, finger picking, individual picking, you name it, it's in there. And I also go over little excerpts of all this, of a lot of my songs. I kind of break things down because a lot of the exercises are built up to the point where you're able to play some of my pieces. So it's really going to cover everything guitar. It's going to be mostly steel string guitar, and it's for people who not only use a thumb pick but also don't use a thumb pick. There's just some advantages for both, pros and cons to both. But that's kind of just a little bit of a summary about it. But it's basically my whole life's work with my technique, everything that I've been able to do up to today in this masterclass. It's going to be about 100 exercises, about 60 videos, and like 7 hours of content. Really intense. It's going to be it's for people who really want to take their guitar playing to the next level. Yeah. So, and that will be out next year. Yeah. So, why did you get into recording? Yeah. I actually had a roommate who was an audio engineer. That helped to kind of get into recording, and one of my old classmates as well. Got into recording and did a master's in recording. So I had some really, really experienced guys around me to help me to get the recording. I still go to them every once in a while, just to get a second pair of ears to listen to it, which is very good. But I typically like to do my own recordings most of the time, especially if it's at home and stuff like that. I haven't collaborated with any Indian classical musicians. That'd be really cool, though. Yeah. Yeah, so these are nails. These are like, I don't know if they're fake nails. Well, I mean, it's like my real nail. If you think about it, the contact that I'm making with the actual string is my real nail. It's the top of the guitar, of the nail, that has a gel. It has an acrylic gel, but the bottom is still my real nail. So it is actually a combination of everything. You're hearing a part flesh, part nail, and part of the acrylic gel. So that's how I'm able to get that kind of maybe clarity from the guitar. Yeah, I'm glad I'm some good background music there in Poland while you're cooking. That's great. So I'm going to play one more song. And then, by the way, this is a mug that I'm selling now. It's on my merch website, which is just manelijamal.com. There's a part where if you want to get a nice mug that says "Music is my therapist," like it is for me, grab that. So I think I'm going to play Synchro Destiny because that's my latest release. I just recently released a new version of Synchro Destiny that's a very more calm way of playing. And that's my latest release, so maybe I'll finish with that. But yeah, let's just see what happens here. Synchro Destiny. If you want to hear that on a nylon guitar, on a classical guitar, I did just release that, so you can find that on this exact channel that you're on. Cold Arrival, let's leave that for another time. I'll play that maybe next time. Yeah, maybe I'll take a couple more questions here, a few more questions if you guys have before I sign off, because I gotta work. I gotta work on this video stuff, this masterclass, so you guys can learn as much as you can from that. Yeah, so recommend acoustic pickups for percussion. Yeah, Cold Dark. I mean, they don't really sell the pickup; they sell the guitar. Otherwise, K&K is a good alternative. I know a lot of players who swear by that. K&K is another good one. Yeah, I don't really know anything else. I'm not really focusing on live right now, on live playing. So it's maybe something new came out. I don't know. Stuff is always coming out all the time. So, but yeah, well, it's been a joy. It's been a wonderful time here, sharing a good hour with you guys, playing some guitar, taking some of your questions, hopefully answering them. I'll definitely be doing this more often now. I did one, I think, a couple weeks ago. If you want to see more of this stuff, I went over a few other songs and stuff like that. But yeah, so thank you guys so much. Really appreciate all the love and support from all over the world. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is, where you are. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time, and I'll leave some links in the description below, such as my mailing list if you want to sign up for that. You'll be first to know about some updates that are coming out. Okay, thanks guys. Have a great night. Cheers.